Well, we have a lot of things to get into today. Ongoing headlines, new headlines, some context on who's running for Columbus Board of Education. Don't worry, nothing's going to change. But we got to start the show today with something that I don't do very often. I made a big mistake yesterday, a huge mistake. This is not a correction that I'm making because management's asking me to make a correction. I didn't libel anybody. I didn't slander anybody. But I put forward an opinion that I've since studied, thought about, prayed about, and I realized it was wrong, horribly wrong. And I want to correct it. I want to apologize for it. The opinion that I expressed was that this case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia in El Salvador, the guy that the Trump administration deported because he's not a Maryland man, not a Maryland dad, but because he's an illegal alien, because he's a suspected MS-13 gang member, because we now know that he beat his wife a couple of times. I said the Trump administration should offer him all the due process that you or I would want if we were grabbed by a future Democratic administration, because for whatever reason, I mean, they invent reasons. They invented reasons on Donald Trump. And I said, look, come on, you got to give this guy due process, make it quick. And I thought about it, and I thought, no, that's wrong. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is not entitled to due process. And if we hamstring the Trump administration on processing these illegals on a case-by-case basis, when we know, first and foremost, the first question asked is, are you in the country illegally? If you cannot prove you are a U.S. citizen, goodbye. That's it. Goodbye. I don't care what happens to you. If you have participated in a pro-Hamas protest, if you are here illegally, goodbye. If you are fomenting unrest in the streets, rioting, if you're guilty of a crime while you're here and you're here illegally, goodbye. I don't care how bad the crime is. You're gone. You have forfeited your right to stay in America. Shouldn't be here anyway. You're here illegally, goodbye. The reason why I changed my mind on this is because I came to realize that if we do this the way Democrats are insisting that we do this, that we give, well, here's Chris Von Hollen, the Maryland senator who couldn't be bothered to even call the family of Rachel Morin, who's murdered by an illegal, mother of 5, brutally murdered, brutally raped by an illegal. Chris Von Hollen couldn't bother to call the family of Rachel Morin and express his sympathy or empathy or even a vestige of sorrow over her death. But he made time in his schedule to fly at taxpayer expense down to El Salvador to have margaritas with this person from his state of Maryland who can't vote, at least not legally, because he is an illegal. Here is Chris Von Hollen crying out for due process because everybody is entitled, according to Chris Von Hollen, to due process.
Stand up for the Constitution and the right of due process doesn't deserve to lead.
Okay. He's talking about Donald Trump there. He could have been talking about Joe Biden because Joe Biden didn't stand up for due process. Joe Biden let millions of illegals into this country purposefully, flew them into the country to avoid a logjam at the border because he was afraid, I guess, they couldn't get in fast enough. And I was stupid yesterday to say that Donald Trump owes these people due process. He does not, because if he owes them due process, we'll never get rid of them. We'll never get rid of them. They'll take over our country. They'll bankrupt our country as they bankrupted New York City and California, and they're not entitled to anything. They're not entitled to food stamps. They're not entitled to Social Security. They're not entitled to vote. They're not entitled to medical care. They're not entitled to anything. They're here illegally. They're here illegally. What do you think would happen to you or me if we went to Iran illegally or Afghanistan, crossed the border, and then said, hey, by the way, I need a place to stay. I need a phone. I need a gift card so I can buy food. Oh, you mean you're not going to furnish me 3 meals a day? Ridiculous. I don't know what possessed me yesterday other than just maybe I was out of topics and I felt like, well, this will be easy to solve. Let's just give them what they want. We'll get rid of this one guy. But it won't be just one guy. They will find a new favorite. They will find a new cause celeb. They will find a new example. And they will do exactly what this is intended to do. They will delay and stop the exodus of people out of this country who invaded this country. Our Supreme Court has lost its stomach for this too. They ruled on Saturday night that Donald Trump can't just deport members of Tren de Aragua out of the country. He's being fought in the courts. He's being fought by the highest court. I'm out of patience with this. I'm very sorry that I said yesterday that they should give Kilmar Abrego Garcia the hearing that he is due. And the reason why I am sorry about that is because it was stupid to say it. And John Kennedy, the Louisiana senator, made an important point yesterday. I changed my mind before I heard John Kennedy say this, but John Kennedy is absolutely right to say this.
Chris says Mr. Garcia's had no due process. He's been in front of 17 judges, some of them twice, probably $5 million worth of legal fees, and he hadn't had to pay a dime.
Correct. Correct. He's been in front of 2 judges who said that he's deportable because he's highly suspected of being a member of MS-13. He beat his wife. She complained about it. I even left out my earlier litany of his horrific record the fact that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was arrested with what sure looked like a carload of human trafficking victims. And he was, of course, let go by Chris Wray's FBI. He never made an asylum claim in this country until he was in this country illegally for 7 years. The business that he said was being targeted by a gang in El Salvador, the business was no longer in business at the time he made the asylum claim. The gang no longer exists. We can get caught up in the nuances and the merits of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case, and that's exactly what the Democrats want. Because they flooded people in here, and now they want us to release them drip by drip by drip. Because they're playing a game of stall tactics. Trump, they hope, will be out of office in 4 years. The House will be taken over by the Democrats, they hope, in 2 years. The Senate maybe will be back in the hands of Democrats, and then they can just resume again what they've already shown a propensity to do, which is to destroy our country from within. And we haven't even gotten to the very high likelihood that this illegal immigration is going to birth a coordinated domestic terror attack on our country in the next few years, for which I have no doubt the Democrats will blame Donald Trump. And they will be abetted in that blame by their voices in the media, which is virtually every voice out there. I don't know why I missed this yesterday. I am very sorry that I said what I said. When I'm wrong, I'm more than willing to admit that I am wrong. And I was dreadfully wrong on this. Dreadfully wrong on this. Donald Trump responding to this delay tactic said yesterday, and I didn't need to hear him say this. I was already on this train, but he just makes perfect sense here. He says, my team is fantastic. They're doing an incredible job. However, they're being stymied at every turn by even the U.S. Supreme Court, which I have such great respect for, but which seemingly doesn't want me to send violent criminals and terrorists back to Venezuela or any country for that matter. We cannot give everyone a trial because to do so would take, without exaggeration, 200 years. And I've heard that it would take like 30 years, but Trump is prone to exaggeration. Doesn't matter. He doesn't have 30 years in office. He doesn't have 200 years in office. He has 3 years and about, 8 months. We would need hundreds of thousands of trials for the hundreds of thousands of illegals we are sending out of the country. Such a thing is not possible to do. What a ridiculous situation we're in. And the Democrats cared nothing about due process coming into the country in the right way. They cared nothing about due process when it came to forgiving. What was the total I saw this morning? Oh, that's right. $189 billion in student loans. They cared nothing about telling you you couldn't stay in the military, even though you had a contract with the military that you signed as an enlisted man or woman. They canceled your contract because you couldn't or wouldn't take their mandated vaccine. They wanted to keep you from flying on airplanes. Were there hearings for every passenger? No, there were not. They just unilaterally imposed a bunch of garbage policy and a bunch of indefensible nonsense that would not or should not have stood up in any court in the land. And now they demand to make a celebrity out of a human being. Somebody who can rot in the jungle of El Salvador for all that I care. Somebody who has already proven himself to not be a productive member of a society where order must reign. So I made a huge mistake yesterday, and I promise you I will not make that same mistake again.
Sun and some clouds. It'll be a pleasant afternoon. High today 71. Mainly clear tonight and a low 49. Sunny, terrific day tomorrow. The high 78. And then partly sunny, a warm day on Thursday. The high 81. Clouds and humid. Shower and a heavy thunderstorm late day Friday. High Friday at 73. And then for Saturday, breezy in the morning. Couple of showers. Clouds and sun by the afternoon. High at 67. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Time is running out. Are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime this summer? Join me, Larry Elder, along with Mike Gallagher on the Patriots Alaska Cruise, August 16th to the 23rd. This is your chance to experience Alaska's breathtaking wilderness while engaging in exclusive conversations about America's future with some of the most respected voices in politics. But that's not all. Special guests Jennifer Horn and Joe Piscopo will be on board for this once-in-a-lifetime journey. Cabins are filling fast. Do not wait. Text travel to 94878 right now for details and to secure your spot. Explore majestic glaciers, fjords, and wildlife, all while discussing the most pressing issues of our time. Act now. Text the word travel to 94878 before it's too late. Text travel to 94878. Time is running out. Join me, Larry Elder, and Mike Gallagher on the Patriots Alaska Cruise, August 16th through the 23rd. See Alaska's stunning landscapes while engaging in powerful discussions on America's future. Text travel to 94878 right now.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and the total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me, and they were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere, delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Samsung TV Plus, channel 1177.
Larry Elder will be here on Friday, and we're going to have a great night at the Der Dutchman restaurant. I'm sorry that we are sold out of tickets, but those of you who have tickets, I just want you to know how much we're looking forward to seeing you. Friday night, doors will open at 6. The dinner, the Der Dutchman buffet dinner, will start at 6:30. Roasted chicken, roast beef, all the typical fare of the great Amish restaurant, Der Dutchman, along with assorted pies for dessert. But we haven't forgotten you. We have another event planned for July the 19th. Now, it will not feature Larry Elder. I can't tell you who it will feature, but it's a guest you're going to want to hear. So I'm just telling you now to mark that date on your calendar. Can't release any details yet, but don't get shut out of the next one. And by the way, in the interim, make sure you go to 989theanswer.com and enter the gas and groceries giveaway sweepstakes. A chance to win the grand prize of $2,500, which you can spend for gas and groceries. Also, gift cards in $500 increments for the second and third place winners. Enter at 989theanswer.com. I mentioned yesterday that it was over the weekend, Saturday, it was the 250th anniversary of the shot heard around the world. The shot fired at Lexington and Concord that kicked off the Revolutionary War that led us to be the country that we are, a country divinely founded by men who feared God, honored God, esteemed God, extolled God. And the American experiment flourished for a long, long time, but it is gradually eroding, and it will, like a bankruptcy, disintegrate slowly and then all at once if we don't get the illegals out and if we don't exorcise, remove, rid ourselves of what has become a mind virus that captivates almost half of the voting public. I made a mistake on saying yesterday that the U.S. government should give Kilmar Abreu Garcia due process. He's not entitled to due process. He's an illegal alien. That's the first question. Are you here illegally? You are? Get out. I don't care if you've been here 15 years. I don't care if you've been here 20 years. I don't care if you have kids. Bye. You did not come here legally. Goodbye. Out. Gone. It's the only way we can prevent Laken Riley's and Ruby Garcia's and Jocelyn Nungary's. I'm sorry you have to, I'm really not sorry. I'm just telling you the fact. You have to pay the price for all the people who came in who did not do what you did. If you were here illegally, because there were all throughout that period of time that you came here illegally, the chance to come here legally and wait your turn. So I will not listen to any sob stories about why you were here illegally. Nor will I be cowed by any of these exceptions to the rule cases that you will read ad infinitum in every media that you look at. Hopefully one of them that you look at is not the Columbus Dispatch, but there's one in there today. Oh, this poor attorney was alarmed when she got an email from the federal government telling her to self-deport within 7 days, despite the fact she was born in the United States. Okay, great. Then you're legal. Don't worry about it. It's a mistake. It happens. How many times do you get a text during the day? Whether it's a scam or whether it's something else. Ignore it. It doesn't apply to you. Because there are 20 million illegals here, there is bound to be a flaw here, there, and maybe everywhere in how they remove these people from our country. If you're legal, you have nothing to worry about. This lady works at a law firm in Westerville, and she believes she got the email in error because she works with immigrants as part of her job. No, you just got the email. Trust me, your name is not even on the email, okay? Stupid reporting by the Dispatch. Hey, let's go find an exception and let's show everybody how poorly run this deportation effort is, as opposed to how legal and pristine the importation of illegals was. And there's another knucklehead that the Dispatch writes about. Awar Sultan grew up in India. And he's now here on an F1 visa. So I'm reading about him and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this guy got a bad deal. And I'm reading. Sultan is one of at least 12 Ohio State international students, among hundreds nationwide, have had their visas revoked by the Trump administration. Gee, why? What befell poor Awar Sultan? Did he do anything to put himself on the radar? of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Here he is. Sultan in Ohio State's Students for Justice in Palestine chapter filed a federal lawsuit on April 15th against President Donald Trump, the State Department, Marco Rubio, Pam Bondi, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, because their student visas were revoked. Well, you remember Students for Justice in Palestine? Then I suggest you go to Palestine and aid in their efforts for justice over there, in the rundown, bombed out hellhole it is, because they started a war with Israel that they could never win, but they can't relent on. He says, Mr. Sultan says he was taking notes during a lecture at Knowlton Hall on April the 3rd when he saw an email pop into his inbox from Ohio State's Office of International Affairs. It contained confusing and worrying news. Let's really see if the news was that confusing. His F1 visa status was being terminated for, here's why. Is this confusing? It doesn't confuse me. It apparently confused poor Sultan. His visa was terminated for failing to maintain status. He did not share his criminal records check, which thus resulted in his visa being revoked. So, if you're here on an F1 visa, you have to certify that you have not been arrested for any crime. The problem with Mr. Sultan was he was arrested. He had participated in 11 different acts of protest against the Israel war against Hamas, including a protest on the South Oval on the Ohio State campus. So I wonder if that's why he didn't update his arrest record, even though he was spared the consequences of his action by the woke city attorney Zach Klein and was made to perform 10 hours of community service. Nevertheless, he did not report that to the OSU Student Office of Affairs that he was required, keyword required, to report. So goodbye, Sultan. Don't let the door hit you on your way out. Now, this is just how stupid this whole entire episode is, that these illegals can come in here, non-citizens can come in here, even under legal means like an F1 visa, violate the terms of the visa, and then sue the President of the United States. That's stupid. That is stupid. They should not be entitled to that. I don't know if they are entitled to it or not. I suppose any idiot can file a lawsuit. After all, the guy who burned himself with his own coffee from McDonald's got a big settlement. So I suppose there's no end to the inanity of using the U.S. courts to account for your own lawlessness and stupidity. But I feel no sorrow for him. Because if I went to a foreign country, how about that? You go to a foreign country, you go to Russia, right? Would you grab a sign, go out on the street? Putin is a dictator. Would you do that? How long do you think you'd be out there on the corner before the KGB would pull up? We have become so accustomed to the rights that we have as American citizens that we assume, I guess, that other people who don't comport themselves like we do are entitled to those rights. They are not. They are not.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. America's wealthiest university, Harvard, which boasts a $53 billion endowment, is suing the Trump administration over a $2 billion freeze in federal funding. Responding to a higher Trump administration tariff levy on its imports, pharmaceuticals, Swiss drug maker Roche says it will invest $50 billion in U.S. manufacturing over 5 years and plans to add 12,000 jobs in the U.S. The Anti-Defamation League says a number of anti-Semitic incidents in the U.S. reached a record high last year. The group's report notes 58% of the 9,354 incidents have to do with Israel. A rally underway on Wall Street at midday. The Dow is up 793 points, gain of more than 2%. The NASDAQ, 375 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Financing a home, especially today's market, is one of the biggest decisions you'll make for your family. Work with a mortgage company that puts you first. I do.
Very strange, and in my mind, politically risky choice. I saw that the Republicans' campaign arm today offered to pay for more House Democrats to go to El Salvador.
I know the care their team puts into every single customer. I can personally tell you that it's a smooth, stress-free process, and that's due to Fellowship's level of service and expertise that puts you in the right loan for your family and your goals. There's a reason Fellowship Home Loans is flooded with 5-star reviews. Whether purchasing a home or a cash-out refi to consolidate some higher interest debt, you can trust Fellowship Home Loans. Start the process. Make the call. 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number. He's an honored graduate of Harvard and the School of North, a proud Buckeye from Warren, Ohio, and the husband of the chick, Mrs. Hewitt. He's Hugh Hewitt. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 5 on your station for news, opinion, and passion. 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Financing a home, especially in today's market, is one of the biggest decisions you'll make for your family. Work with a mortgage company that puts you first. I do. Work with a lender founded on biblical principles like do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I do. It's Mike Gallagher for the only mortgage company I've used for almost a decade now in financing or refinancing Fellowship Home Loans. I'm friends with the owners, Mike and Brian. I even have them on my show occasionally. I know the care their team puts into every single customer. I can personally tell you that it's a smooth, stress-free process, and that's due to Fellowship's level of service and expertise that puts you in the right loan for your family and your goals. There's a reason Fellowship Home Loans is flooded with 5-star reviews. Whether purchasing a home or a cash-out refi to consolidate some higher interest debt, you can trust Fellowship Home Loans. Start the process. Make the call. 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 899382.
Here's great news. If you're planning to attend Valor Christian College as a new student this fall semester, you can receive a $5,000 tuition scholarship for only $2,500. That's right, $2,500 off your first semester for all new students. One scholarship per student, all Valor Christian College admission requirements must be met. Whether you're interested in preparing to enter ministry or want to delve deeper into God's calling on your life, Valor Christian College in Canal Winchester may be for you. To learn more, click on shopping at 989theanswer.com.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer. Anywhere you go with The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
If you're looking to remodel the flooring in your home, I hope you'll consider me. A trip to brucehooley.com by clicking flooring will give me the way to contact you, reach out to you, ask you about your project, talk you through the options, and eventually meet you, because obviously I can't give you an estimate if I don't know how much flooring you need. I love collaborating with potential customers. I've met many good friends through this process. It's a way for me to interact with you who listen to the show, because this is the only place that I talk about my flooring endeavors. And so what I love to do is hear your personal story, discuss the issues of the day, save you money, and get the product in your home faster than any big box store can. I can explain to you how I do that and why our installers are better than those you might encounter who say bid on a job, and then after they do the job, they're gone. You'll never see them again. So if there is an issue, you'll never be able to get it corrected, or it'll be a major hassle. That won't happen if you go to brucehooley.com and click flooring, brucehooley.com and click flooring. Well, I'm not surprised. The left has been successful at this several times before in the past in the state of Ohio. It's how they got rid of the heartbeat bill. It's how they introduced legalized gambling. It's how they got marijuana legalized in the state of Ohio. Even though Senate Bill 1 passed and was signed into law by Mike DeWine, the Advanced Higher Education Act, the one that outlaws DEI, and is the reason why they got rid of a couple stupid offices at OSU that prioritize race and immutable characteristics over meritocracy. They are now trying to get it on the ballot in November to get it voted down. The Youngstown State Education Association has submitted more than 1,000 signatures to begin the process of getting Senate Bill 1 up for a referendum in the fall. Now, there's a long process they have to go through to do this. They have to get signatures from 44 of the 88 counties in Ohio. In each county, they have to get signatures equal to at least 3% of the total vote cast for the office of governor in that county in the last gubernatorial election. And they have to be collected and submitted by June the 25th, 2025. So if anybody comes to the door, wherever you live, Licking County, Greene County, Clark County, Logan, Champaign, Auglaize, Madison, Franklin, and they want you to sign a petition. Oh, they'll tell you, oh, it's just a great thing. We're trying to preserve academic integrity, which means we're trying to preserve academic wokeness and indoctrination. Don't sign it. In fact, have them explain it to you for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because however many minutes you can keep them at your door are minutes they can't go to someone else's door and lie to them about what they're really trying to do. Now, we lost a good state legislator, a former state legislator. His name was Ron Hood. I don't know Ron Hood. I wish I did. He's an ardent opponent of abortion, co-sponsor of the heartbeat bill that, again, was signed into law in 2019, but never took effect. Took effect for like a blink of an eye after the Supreme Court overruled Roe versus Wade. But then, of course, the common pleas court judge in Cincinnati, one county out of 88, issued an injunction that applied to the entire state. So the heartbeat bill could not be applied, and then they voted it off the ballot. Because we're lazy on the Republican side of the aisle. We don't get out and vote on state issues, or we don't bother to find out what we're really voting on. Should I vote yes? Should I vote no? You'd be stunned and chagrined the number of times I'm asked that by good people. I don't know. Should I vote yes? Should I vote no? Because the left does a good job of obfuscating what people are really voting on. Because even though they talk about democracy, really care about democracy, what they really want is to ingrain their craziness, and they'll stop at nothing to do it. Case in point, guess what they're arguing before the Supreme Court today? The court is hearing arguments from a diverse group of parents, including Muslims, Orthodox Ukrainians, Christians, and Jews from Montgomery County, Maryland, who are opposed to the reading of sexually explicit books and books that introduce gender theory to their children in elementary schools. You want your kids exposed to that? No, you do not. Or at least you would like the opportunity to have the chance to opt your kids out of that. Now, these parents were pretty smart. When they sued their home school district, they did not sue their home district saying, you cannot have these materials in school, because they know we run into a woke judge, we're going to lose that case. They're going to force it on our kids. So what they're asking for, all they're asking for, is the opportunity to say, I'd rather my child not be studying this book or that book. What are these books like? Here's Bill Hemmer of Fox giving us a synopsis on 3 of the books that, again, all the parents want is to be able to opt out of having these books read to and studied by their children in elementary school.
This is Princeton Knight. Now, we took all these examples from Amazon.com, a large bookseller, as you know, been doing it for years. All right, here's the quote. A noble prince and a brave knight come together to defeat a terrible monster and in the process find true love. That's one example. Here's another one. Born ready. Penelope knows he's a boy. The problem is getting everyone else to realize it. Remember, these are kids between the age of 3 and 10.
3 and 10.
Here's another example. It's called My Rainbow. One sample from the writing in that book. Trinity wants long hair like her doll. She needs it to express who she truly is.
Yeah, that's what they want to teach the kids. That's what they want to indoctrinate the kids in. Okay? This is utter nonsense, but it's not really nonsense. It's strategic. It is purposeful. It is meant to do this to get kids to be confused and to reject biblical morality, or at least to make them wonder, to want to experiment. Oh, really? Wow, he's a good friend. Maybe my feelings for him are not just friendship. Maybe they're more than this. Andy McCarthy, Fox News, National Review, legal scholar, points out this kind of indoctrination is exactly how you see and why you see anti-Semitism playing out on college campuses across the United States, and why you see it foment a war, an ongoing war in the Middle East.
I really think now the court will go to the religious liberty issue here. And this is really, it's such a matter of common sense here. We see all around us, we've been dealing with a war in Israel for the last, since October 7th, where one of the big problems in that region is indoctrination in the school system. I mean, the whole idea that it doesn't happen that you just have available these materials for 3-year-olds to 10-year-olds to review and to be taught, and that you're not trying to indoctrinate them into an ideology we know it from common sense, and we know it from our own experience that it's ridiculous.
We also know it from the Constitution, which says that the government shall make no law infringing on the right to your freedom of religion, to practice your faith however you want. And parents are the ones who should make that call for kids. But Democrats just love to tell you, there are kids. There are kids. They're not your kids. There are kids. It takes a village to raise a kid. No, it really doesn't. It takes 2 committed parents to raise a kid. Now, you might say, the Supreme Court's already ruled on this. I remember the Jack Smith case, the Colorado cake maker, right? They said he didn't have to make the gay wedding cake. No, they didn't say that. They gave him a very narrow victory, but they did not preserve his rights to religious liberty. You know how you know that? Because he got sued again shortly thereafter, and he's continually been targeted by liberals, by leftists, by people who are in defiance of God's moral law. First, it was a transgender cake and this and that and the other. And they've done everything they can to bankrupt this guy because we have a court, a Supreme Court, with too many people like John Roberts, and occasionally all three of the justices Trump has named have disappointed us at various turns. Amy Coney Barrett has, Brett Kavanaugh has, Neil Gorsuch has. All three of them were in on the decision Saturday night, the 7-2 decision that, you can't deport any more Venezuelans. You can't just round them up. If they're members of Tren de Aragua and get rid of them, you got to put them in front of a court, which I fell for a while. And then I realized how ridiculous that was. I'm not confident this court will do the right thing on this case or any case. Not because I'm at odds with what the law should be, but because we have allowed so much poison to infest our minds, even our best legal minds, that we lose many more battles than we should.
Sun and some clouds. It'll be a pleasant afternoon. High today 71. Mainly clear tonight and a low 49. Sunny, terrific day tomorrow. The high 78. And then partly sunny, a warm day on Thursday. The high 81. Clouds and humid. Shower and a heavy thunderstorm late day Friday. High Friday at 73. And then for Saturday, breezy in the morning. Couple of showers. Clouds and sun by the afternoon. High at 67. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 17 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
Has the recent storms impacted your house? The Metal Roof Company not only specializes in working with your insurance company, but also specializes in all trades on the outside of your home. Roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, windows, and in some cases, we can install a metal roof for the same price as a shingle roof. So remember, folks, don't settle, buy metal. Call 614-721-ROOF or reach out to us on the web at themetalroofcompany.com.
Maybe like me, you're a union guy who's watched your union promote issues that violate your faith. I couldn't live with myself when I knew that my dues were being used to advocate abortion. I contacted the National Right to Work Foundation. They told me the union can't force me to support its agenda. I pray for them, but I no longer compromise my beliefs. I give my union money to an agreed-upon charity instead. If you want to learn more about your rights, contact the National Right to Work Foundation at 1-800-336-3600 or access their website at nrtw.org.
Hey, Mike Lindell and his employees want to personally thank you for your continued support of MyPillow, and I do as well. I'm Bruce Hooley. MyPillow has a big allotment of their bed sheets that were earmarked for box stores this spring, and now, well, the box stores didn't come through. So Mike Lindell and MyPillow are going to pass the savings on to you. There's no middleman, so you're going to get wholesale prices on their famous Giza, Dreams, and Percale bed sheets. Giza Dream Queen Size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99. King Size, only $79.99. Percale Queen Size, normally $89.99. Your wholesale price is, get this, $29.98. And the King Size, only $34.98. So go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Bruce. This allotment will not last long, and when they are gone, they are gone. So get to mypillow.com and use my promo code Bruce. That's mypillow.com, promo code Bruce.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
Discount Shopping Club at 989theanswer.com affords you a chance to get ahead of the curve. I mean, we have hot weather coming, a little bit of a taste of it on Sunday, but it was a nice breeze, a pleasant day. You know, it's not going to be like that in June, July, August. Woo, those are the dog days. And if your air conditioner was struggling last year and you thought, we made it through, finally the cool temperatures got here, you can't count on it this year. So thankfully, in the Discount Shopping Club, Temperature Pro Columbus is making available to you a day and night 3-ton air conditioner designed to efficiently cool homes ranging from 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. This is half off. Total value is $5,500. You won't pay anywhere close to that, but you don't pay anywhere close to the actual value of anything in the Discount Shopping Club, whether it's mattresses from Mac Mattress Outlets or whether it's tuition at Ohio Christian University or Valor Christian University or other places. There's other deals there as well. You won't know what they are until you go to the Discount Shopping Club by clicking shopping at 989theanswer.com. I don't hear any music. Should I hear music? I guess we're back. Okay, very good. We're back. There we go. No worries. We are back on the Bruce Hooley Show. 11:50 in the morning. Glad to have you with us. And we were talking about this case that the Supreme Court is hearing testimony for today from a group of parents in Maryland, a diverse group of parents in Maryland. It's Jews, it's Muslims, it's Christians, none of whom want their children to be exposed to, these are elementary school children, age 5 to 10, kindergarten, first, second, third grade. They do not want them to study books that expose them to relationships that are lesbian, gay, non-binary, all that other stuff that is beyond their understanding, right? Most of them, I'm going to wager, come from families where there's a mom and a dad. Oh, I know there might be mom and mommy or dad and daddy, but typically most of them come from mom and dad, or most of the relationships they realize in their friends are mom and dad, and they're innocent young minds. And we have movie ratings and we have a lot of things in terms of when we allow kids to drive cars and stuff like that. But, oh, we don't want to bring that common sense approach to schools. No, we want to ingrain ideas in these kids that anything they want to do or anything they might want to explore is fine and dandy. Here's one of the parents. Billy Moges is her name, talking about why she opposes, and all she wants, she doesn't want the books banned. All the Democrats love to say, oh, they're banning books. The books are available on Amazon. The books are in the library. If the books are actually being taught only to parents who opt in to these programs and not to students who opt out, the books are not banned. But Billy Moges gives her rationale for being one of the parents who has joined this lawsuit against this school district in Maryland.
You have to remember, these kids are in pre-K and elementary school. They don't even know what the term means. They do not have an understanding or comprehension level to know what these are. So kids are confused, and they're going home asking their parents what they're learning at school and at home is not lining up.
Yeah, that's the intent. Of course, that's the intent, is to make the kids ask questions, to make the kids essentially beholden to the teachers in the schools, not to their parents. Now, here's the lawyer for the parents in the case. His name is Colton Stansberry.
So many of our parents just want to say, hey, let us be the parents. You know, and it's important to note our case is not a book ban case. We're not saying that these books can't be on the shelves. We're saying, you know, we want to be out of the class.
Yeah, they want these books out of the classroom if they opt out for their kids. Now, you might say, what's the law on this? What's the law on this? 47 states and the District of Columbia allow for parental opt-outs or require opt-ins before students participate in sex education. Montgomery County, Maryland, where this case is happening, is the largest public school system in the state of Maryland. It also had an opt-out policy for parents with religious objections to what was being taught in the classroom, as long as the request did not become too frequent or burdensome. Oh, but guess what? A bunch of parents opted out, and the school district was like, ooh, we're having a problem. Only a couple kids in the class of, let's say, 30, only a couple kids' parents opt in. And so we're having a class where the teacher who typically watches these kids all day long, the teacher now has to be in teaching the 3 or 4 kids who are interested. So this has become burdensome. So in other words, what only 3 or 4 or 5 or a decided minority of parents, minority of parents want, must be foisted upon the other students in the class because it's just too hard for us to watch them. We just don't have the personnel to watch. I mean, after all, if they're opting out, what are we going to teach them? See, it would never occur to them. It would occur to me, it would occur to you, but it would never occur to them to say, maybe we ought to teach a different book. Maybe we should teach a classic book. Maybe we should teach Winnie the Pooh, or maybe we should teach something else. No, we have to preach, what was the book? Prince and the King or something like that. This is, of course, of course, meant to bend children toward the mindset of people who are sympathetic to or members of the LGBTQ sector of society. Andy McCarthy, legal analyst, Fox and National Review, says that what the parents are asking here is not a big ask.
The question is whether they can opt out. Frankly, I think opting out is the most reasonable and unobjectionable thing that I can imagine, because I think the substance of this itself is obviously indoctrination, and they're not even taking that on. They're not saying that they can't have this material available in the schools. They're simply saying that the parents have a right to opt out of it. And, you know, we've had a lot of back and forth in the law regarding religious liberty going back to the 1990s, where the court tried to impose basically a standard that said that if a law was neutral and of general application, meaning it applied to everyone and it didn't say anything one way or the other about religion, then there was no constitutional objection to it. But I think, as we've seen in the ensuing more than 30 years, progressives in particular are very good about writing, or very good at writing laws that are not only generally applicable, but they appear like they're neutral, but the reason that they have them in the first place is ideological and hostile to religion. And all this case is about is allowing parents to opt their children out of that.
The scenario he outlined is exactly what happened in this school district. The books started coming in when the school district introduced educational equity. And if they're going to do educational equity, then they had to have LGBTQ inclusive storybooks for elementary school students. It's just part of the English language arts curriculum. I mean, after all, what could be wrong with a story Born Ready about a transgender elementary age school children, or Prince and Knight, where the prince and the knight work together, and then, oh, look at this, they fall in love. So they adopted these policies in 2022. And at that point, they allowed parents to opt out of the reading. But in March of 2023, the school board in Maryland said, you know what, we're not going to allow families to opt out anymore. We're not going to allow you to excuse your kids from this because just too many of them are dropping out. In other words, a school district was going to give the students expressly what the parents did not want. This is why you have to be involved in your child's education. This is why you have to look inside their book bag and see what they're bringing home. This is why you have to talk with them, and you have to plow through that. How was your day, hon? Fine, good. Nope. You've got to be invested in your kids' education, because if not, your kids' minds are going to be warped.
Trish Regan provides the analysis you need each day on the Trish Regan podcast.
People are like, we realize there's an establishment very hard at work, whether it be the media, whether it be
that's the end of hour number 1, and we only stream hour number 1. You can stream hour number 2 on the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page or the 9890 Answer Facebook page. I appreciate your time. You're having a good day, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.
Trish Regan podcast today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at Salem Podcast Network.